What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another little mini review. This time, or I guess you could say this is a retro, not really retro, but it's, and I guess you can't really say it's a re-review either. I don't know if I ever gave these two minifigures a proper review. So yes, we're talking about two minifigures going back to the Minimate toy line, Minimate universe. If you see the thumbnail of the video and the title, then you already know who we're talking about. But I did sell off my Minimate collection last year. I kept a few. I had a custom minifigure based off a video game character who, to my knowledge, doesn't have any figure representation. So I held on to that. I have a custom. I have some video game some other video game official video game mini-mates. I have TMNT. There are still some I would like to get, like Marvel, for example. There's a few of the Marvel ones I'd like to get. Um, but these guys that we're going to be talking about are Marvel movie figures. And these two figures just really appeal to me. And I don't have any other representation of these two characters in my collection at the moment. So I was like, yeah, let me hold on to these guys. So we are going to be looking at X-Men, Days of Future Past, Professor X, and Future Magneto. I'm not sure why they didn't put Future Professor X, but okay. Marvel, I'm not sure. It says ages 8 and up, 2-pack. I'm not sure if it has the date on here. Okay, this says 20, okay, it says 2014. I guess that's when the movie came out. It's such a blur. Art Asylum, Diamond Select Toys. Here's the back. Marvel, Minimates. We have Bone Claw Wolverine and young Professor X, Charles Xavier. We have Future Wolverine and Future Storm. We have young Magneto and young Mystique. They just say Mystique. And then we have Professor X and Future Magneto. It says Professor X. Holy crap. Oh, I didn't know this. This is cool. About to read the bio. And the year 2023. I did not know that the future sequence took place in 2023. Charles Xavier lives in hiding with his fellow X-Men, orchestrating the mutant resistance to a mutant human eradicating army of robotic sentinels. He uses a one-of-a-kind hover chair. In hiding, so now we're talking about Future Magneto. In hiding, the Eric Lenscher of 2023 lives among the X-Men he once fought, using his magnetic powers to battle the Sentinels, who have purged all human and mutant life from the globe. Yes, so I believe Days of Future Past is based off the Days of Future Past comic storyline. I'm a little familiar with that. I haven't read it myself, don't know if I ever will. But I do like the story. I do like the original comic, and I did like the movie. Off topic, like I said, real quick. Uh, Sir Patrick Stewart, who played the original Professor X, and I forgot. Oh, it's gonna bother me. I forgot the name of the actor who played OG Magneto, who also played Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. It's gonna bother me, but they did a phenomenal job portraying bringing these characters to life on the big screen way back in 2000. They did a phenomenal job. Probably the best and most likely outside of the 90s incarnation, probably the most mainstream, incarnation of the Magneto and Professor X characters. Yeah, here's the box. So I like that these guys are resealable. You can put them back in the box, put them in storage, or like I said, what I'm doing, displaying them. There's a comic shop that's not too far from me. See them in there? There's a comic shop not too far from me. They have a lot of Minimates. So I got a handful of my X-Men Minimates from that comic shop. So this is cool. I like it when they come with these Guardians of the Galaxy movie mini mates. Cool. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're still like making them as much as they used to. I think they're still around. I know they released some like Logan mini mates with Wolverine 3 with X-23. They released some mini mates of the two of those characters and maybe a couple others. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. Um, they don't seem to, like I said, we didn't get any Spider-Man No Way Home mini mates, which was like that was like a huge missed opportunity. Um, Captain America Brave New World, I don't know if those are getting any mini mates. Like they haven't really been making, to my knowledge. This is cool. This is cool. This is dope. So I wonder if the Minimate universe is its own official universe from in the Marvel multiverse. Okay. Speaking of Spider-Man, here are Amazing Spider-Man 2 Minimates, which is cool. And we have a little comic with Spider-Man, Iron Man, Daredevil, and Stilts. This is a supervillain. Cool. So yeah, I like this. This is dope. So like I said, I don't know how often we get new mini mates, unfortunately. So like I said, Patrick Stewart and the other actor, whose name escapes me at the moment. I would pause the video and Google, but I don't. I'm not going. I don't feel like it. Well, it's gonna bother me. But like I said, they did a phenomenal job bringing those characters to life. Um, Michael Fassbender, who played the young Magneto in X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past, and the other actor, James McAvoy, who played young Professor X. Again, they did an awesome job playing, younger incarnations of these two characters. So, yeah, great performances all around. You know, I think I spoke my piece about the X-Men movies. The original trilogy I like. I think a lot of people consider 2 one of the better ones, if not the best one. I have to agree. I think 2 might be my favorite. For me, it's 2, 3, and 1. And a lot of people don't like 3 for a lot of reasons. I like 3. I've seen it so many times. I like it, kind of like with Spider-Man 3. Um, let's see. It's remove Professor's hover chair, which is really cool. Unfortunately, there's no way to peg him into the chair, so he just kind of sits on it. Just kind of pose him being sitting on the chair. But it's cool. It has this little piece at the bottom to hold it up. So that's neat. I like it. Nicely detailed. No, doesn't seem like no paint or anything, but cool. Like I said, Days of Future Past was cool. It's okay. I like it. I like it. It's okay. I'm trying to think. So he comes with or at least I gave him one. I gave him one of these little stands. I don't know if he originally came with one. I think he did. So here he is. Of course, the outfits were kind of bland, just the all black. That's kind of debatable. The costumes in those live action movies just kind of bland, all black suit. Um, Of course, in Deadpool and Wolverine, let's see if we can focus on his face. I don't think it's going to come in. Deadpool and Wolverine, we finally got to see Wolverine in his classic comic accurate colors, which was awesome. That was cool. But yeah, so where was I? And I'll show Magneto. Like I said, the Wolverine movies, just watched X-Men Origins a couple weeks ago. I saw that in theaters, so I have a lot of love for that movie, even though a lot of the fan base really isn't big on that one either. The Wolverine I like, but there's just some things about it I didn't care for, but I like that it takes place in Japan and all the other stuff. Logan, again, I think was maybe one of the better superhero movies in the last decade or so. I bought Logan on DVD. I do like it, but it is kind of like a movie you have to be in the mood to watch, considering how grim it is. like I said, Deadpool movies, Deadpool 1 and 2, they were okay. 3 was my favorite. I think 3 just had the best story out of all the Deadpool movies. And of course, it had Wolverine in it, so obviously it was gonna be my favorite. Uh, First Class, didn't care for it when it came out. Over the years, I've grown to appreciate it. Um, Age of Apocalypse, I don't know if I've seen that from beginning to end. It was okay. I think Apocalypse could have been done better. He looked too small. He looked, he Apocalypse is on the same level as Thanos, and he was too small. um, Dark Phoenix. I think I saw that all the way through. Dark Phoenix. It wasn't the best, unfortunately. So the series is kind of hit or miss, but there's so many movies to choose from. I mean, yeah, damn. I mean, the franchise is like 20 now, so. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the X-Men movies. I did binge the X-Men um, TV show. I apologize, I'm just rambling. But yeah, he the posability is solid. All the parts are minimates are interchangeable, so all his body parts are removable. His on ball joints, no knee joints. Um, like I said, I like the face. It looks like Patrick Stewart. Um, I did have him and Magneto displayed on my desk when I used to have them on display. Um, so you can pose him. He can stay in the chair. He can stay in the chair. Oh, he just fell out. So let's see. If I sit him down, there we go. Let's see. If we stand him on something solid, can he stay in the chair? Trying to get a solid. This is plastic. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I have him on the little plastic cover that was in the packaging, and you see that he is, yeah, you can have him displayed in the chair, and he'll stay for the most part. So that's cool. That's cool. So he can stay in the chair. You just have to pose him, and of course, if you want to stand him up, you have that little display stand. But yeah, I did see the '90s show. I binged that, enjoyed it. I did see X-Men '97. I did enjoy that, but I did feel like the animation was kind of stiff at times. Animation, but I did enjoy '97. A lot of people want them to make a Spider-Man, bring back '90s Spider-Man. So who knows? That might happen because that show needed to tie up a few loose ends. I haven't seen the anime yet. That's the only piece of X-Men media I haven't watched is the anime. Um, I have seen, like I said, the '90s show. I did see Evolution. I didn't see that growing up. Evolution was a lot of fun. R.I.P. Kirby Morrow, who was the voice of Cyclops in that show. Um, I think that's it. And I did see Wolverine the X-Men, which again I enjoyed. Is just it was gone too soon. It had a lot of promise. It could have been the first X-Men series to try to adapt the Age of Apocalypse storyline. So that's unfortunate. And of course, I did see. Well, if you want to count Hulk versus Wolverine, if you want to count that, I did see that. So okay, like I said, I don't want this to be too long of me just rambling about miscellaneous things. Here is Magneto. Um, like I said, it bothers me. Um, I can't remember his name, the actor's name. But any other time I would remember it, but on video I can't remember. Um, Again, I like his ensemble. He kind of has like this skirt piece underneath that's separate from this big cape. Doesn't have his helmet, which I did have some of the first class minimates, and that Magneto did come with a helmet. So if I can buy, maybe I'll buy a spare helmet or something and give it to him so he can have that look. because I would prefer him to have the helmet because that's more comic accurate. But so unfortunately, due to the way the cape is molded, he doesn't have a lot of posability. I mean, you could still pose him doing cool things like there's different effect pieces and display pieces, so you could still have him pose doing things. Or of course, remove the cape. Um, there you go. Remove the head. There's the cape. So I like the cape. There's a skirt piece. Um, like I said, I love the head sculpt. It looks, like I said, it looks like the actor. Um, kind of gives me kind of Matrix vibes, like the outfit Neo wore in the second and third movie of the Matrix. That's kind of the vibe it gives me. But again, I really like him. He's really cool. I like the gloves, and he's just more appealing in my opinion. He has more going on visually. Um, but I say even if it hinders his articulation, the cape does look really cool. And of course, here he is. Uh, Here he is with the display stand. And there he is with a display stand. So yeah, cool. So yeah, future Magneto and Professor X. Like I said, I really like the aesthetic of these two figures, and having these two characters in my collection is really cool. So you know, yeah, I dig them, and like I said, I like the black suits and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. So if you're interested, sure, knock yourself out. I know a couple years ago Hasbro did make X-Men movie Marvel Legend figures, so we did get, not in these outfits, but we did get a old and young Magneto and Professor X. You could swap the heads out to represent which version you preferred. Um, but yeah. So that is it for this little mini review. Professor X and future Magneto. Yes, cool characters, classic Marvel characters, cool little figures. Well, so as far as next reviews go, like I said, I do need to upload uh, another completion, another TikTok completion. Give a little life update since I don't want this to be too long. Checking the time. As of now, I took my test. So for those who don't know, I've been trying to get into the military. Originally, I was trying to get in the Air Force. Didn't like how that process was going, so I switched over to try to get into the um, Army branch. I had a better experience with that. I've taken my test 3 times. The last time I took it was, I want to say, the beginning of this month. Um, like the end of February, the beginning of this month. To be honest, I didn't feel like I was super duper ready to take it again, but I just went ahead and got out of the way. Didn't do as well as I would have liked, so now I have to take, the next time I could take it is September. That's 5, 6 months away. That's a minute from now. So I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do in the spare time that I have? Because yeah, I still want to, like I said, I'm not going to get into the whole spill of it, but it is something I still like to do. I think it would just be better. It would better my life to be in that situation environment than what I'm currently doing with myself. Um, so I'm like, okay, well, time to go job hunting again. Of course, I have my own business, so I've been self-employed for like 3 years now. So I've been my own boss for 3 years essentially. So it will be, it'll be an adjustment. It'll be a hard transition. Can I do it? Of course I can do it, but like I said, it'll be a hard transition. So currently, I'm back to job hunting. There's a few places that I've applied for. I did talk to a manager at one of the businesses. So I'm gonna try to call today and inquire about those two positions. Are they still available? All that stuff. Are you still interested in hiring me? So if that goes well, hopefully I'll start working again soon. So I'll be doing that. In the meantime, might hire a tutor to help me with the math portion of the test. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know what the future holds, but right now I'm trying to find employment so I can start, keep making money again, having money in my pocket, all that good stuff. So wish me luck. Wish me luck with that. So like I said, if that happens, of course, then I'll be able to buy things a little bit more consistently. Of course, I probably won't be buying $100 collectibles, but here and there, I'll buy something. I might splurge a little bit, get something that might be a little on the pricey side. So you'll start to see more toy reviews, more new toy reviews. That, like I said, that works out. If not, again, I'll just periodically buy something, or I'll re-review something from the past, or like I said, I'll upload a TikTok completion. So yeah, like I said, wish me luck, and like, comment, share. Stay tuned for more. Oh, and subscribe. Yeah, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys.